This early access Season 11 content was brought to you by the EA Creator Network. What's going on, guys? My name is Hollow, and today I'm going to be telling you everything that you need to know about the newest legend in Season 11, Ash. In this guide, we'll be going over what her abilities are, how to use them and get the most value out of them, what legends she synergizes with, and a direct comparison between her and Wraith. Without wasting too much more time, let's get started. First, let's go over Ash's passive ability, Marked for Death, which is more powerful than most passives in the game. Ash's passive is based on gaining information. It's extremely powerful and can be broken down into two parts. The first part is the fact that whenever a player fully dies, an icon will appear on Ash's map over the exact location where the death box was created. This icon will last for 3 minutes or 180 seconds. Deathbox icons will appear quite literally anywhere on the map, no matter how far away the players died from you. However, they will only appear on Ash's map. This is excellent for gaining information on teams that are either actively fighting or have finished a fight. You can use this information to make a decision on where you can rotate to third-party them or where you can rotate to avoid them. This part of the passive is also going to be exceptionally useful for people going for high damage and high kill games, seeing as you're able to see the location of any fight on the map that has resulted in the creation of a death box. On a map like Storm Tropic, this is going to be exceptionally useful since hearing gunshots might be a little hard considering how big the map is. The second part of Ash's passive is the fact that she can scan death boxes with her data knife. The death boxes Ash can scan have to have been created within the last 3 minutes, as far as I'm aware. After scanning the death box, Ash will reveal the location of everyone on the attacking team at the time of being scanned. This scan functions very similarly to the map room scan on King's Canyon, where instead of actively tracking the player model like Bloodhound, Crypto, or Seer, it simply pings their location once at the time of when you scan them. However, it does not reveal their location on the map like the map room scan does on King's Canyon. You cannot scan death boxes of players that you or your team kills. You can only scan death boxes of players that enemy teams kill. This is because the goal of this passive is to reveal the surviving attackers. This part of Ash's passive can be really good for hunting down remaining players after you third-party a fight, or if you pull up to a fight after everyone has already left it. Because there are no death boxes in Arena, Ash will have a modified version of her passive specifically suited to the arena. We will have to wait until the new season drops to be able to see this, however, seeing as I don't think anyone was able to get any early access footage of that. Next, let's go over Ash's tactical ability, the Arc Snare. The Arc Snare is an arc star-like ability that Ash can throw. The snare has about a 175 meter range and travels at around a medium speed. It shocks and does 20 damage to the first enemy it hits, and will tether them to the ground for around 3 seconds if it hits them. While tethered, you can move and shoot with no restrictions, but if you try to move away from the designated area, you will get slowed and you will get pulled back, no matter how fast you run. If Ash's Arc Snare touches the ground, it acts as a sort of trap for 6 seconds before it dissipates. The tether prevents enemies from going outside of the designated circle horizontally. However, characters with vertical mobility can very easily fly upwards to get away from your team while being trapped in it. This does not mean that Octanes are safe, however. Watch how the trap interacts with someone going on a jump pad.
Let's put you in a bind.
Ash is tactical because of the fact that it only tethers people for 3 seconds and it only lasts on the ground for 6 seconds, means that you're basically not going to be able to use this like a traditional trap in Apex Legends, like a Watson fence or a caustic trap. Instead, you're going to have to use it on the fly. I would recommend tethering people to the ground that are trying to run away to a different point of cover, or tethering people behind a rock and then spamming it with nades. Ash's tactical is on a 25-second cooldown, meaning that you can use this ability about once or twice per fight. Next, let's go over Ash's ultimate, the Phase Breach. Ash's ultimate is a one-way portal that serves as a very powerful rotational utility. Once you activate your ultimate, Ash will pull out her sword, the same sword that we saw her use in the trailer. When you use your fire button while having your sword drawn, Ash will instantly go into the void and basically teleport to whatever location you aimed at. The range of Ash's portal is about 60 meters, horizontally and vertically, which is slightly shorter than Wraith's portal and covers significantly less distance than Octane's pad. You can place Ash's ultimate anywhere within those 60 meters as long as you have line of sight on the location you're trying to move to, meaning that no, Ash cannot go through walls. The portal entrance lasts about 10 seconds, which gives both teammates and enemies a little bit of time to come through it with you. The entry point of Ash's portal looks like a smaller, darker version of Wraith's portal, while the exit point is a much lighter color. Ash's ultimate can generate a lot of value for both solo-based and team-based players. For solo players like me, Ash's portal can be used to escape sticky situations where you're being pushed by a full 3-stack of 20-bomb 4K badge TTV players with Season 3 bread badges. It can also be used to take very advantageous off angles on high ground to turn the tide of the fight. For team-based players, Ash can be used for very powerful micro-rotations between buildings, onto high ground, or just for getting out of situations that you don't want to be in, as long as your teammates can make it to the portal in time. Next, let's talk about how Ash's abilities synergize with other legends. With regards to the first part of her passive, that being the Deathbox map information, it synergizes very well with Valkyrie or other mobility-based legends, which enable Ash and her teammates to quickly approach the fights she sees. With regards to the second part of her passive, it goes especially well with recon legends, seeing as you can use their more powerful scans to elaborate on the one-time ping Ash gives you after scanning. Ash's tactical naturally synergizes with characters like Fuse, Horizon, Caustic, or any character with utility or ordnance that can capitalize on players being tethered for 3 seconds. Ash's ultimate can synergize very well with movement legends and allows you to chain multiple mobility abilities together to move across the map exceptionally quickly. Her ultimate also synergizes very well with defensive legends like Caustic or Watson, seeing as they can trap the end of her one-way portal that enemies have taken after them. In all honesty, I forgot to playtest the most important interaction Ash will ever have with her ultimate, and that is whether or not you can use it while inside a Gibraltar bubble. We'll ultimately have to see how well she synergizes with Gibby, seeing as he has an almost 100% pick rate in competitive right now. Before we dive into Ash versus Wraith, let's briefly talk about how to get the most value out of her kit. In using her passive, check your map whenever you see someone die in the kill feed, and make sure to communicate that information with your teammates so you and your teammates can make a decision on what to do with that information. In using her tactical, make sure to call out who you're using your tactical on, or who has been caught in it, seeing as you only have a 3-second window to capitalize off of it. Finally, in using her ultimate, make sure you plan out potential places you can portal to ahead of time before a fight so you don't accidentally portal into a whole team. Now, let's compare Ash versus Wraith, and make the determination of whether or not she will be replaced. Comparing both Ash and Wraith's passives, it's very clear that Ash is the winner, seeing as Wraith's passive doesn't even work half the time from my experience, and knowing exactly where people die and when they died is much better than a voice that says, "I'm being aimed at." Comparing both Ash and Wraith's tacticals, it's very clear though that Wraith wins in this department, seeing as a 3-second invincibility button with a speed boost is much better than a small trap. However, when comparing both Ash and Wraith's ultimates, I honestly think that there's a tie. Wraith's ultimate connects 2 places together, lasts much longer, and spans a greater total distance, at the expense of requiring Wraith to take a while to walk the distance of the portal to set it. Ash, on the other hand, has an ultimate that casts instantly, has a lot of verticality, but doesn't span as much distance and disappears very quickly. I'm of the opinion that whether or not a team will use Ash or Wraith ultimately depends on their playstyle in more structured environments, like competitive Apex or ranked. However, in pub matches, Ash will definitely be picked over Wraith, seeing as most people who play Wraith now will be taking advantage of Ash's passive in Season 11 to find more fights more quickly, seeing as pubs are naturally a more aggressive environment. That concludes today's overview of Season 11's new legend, Ash. What do you guys think of Ash? Is she a good fit for the game, or does she need some adjustments? Let me know in the comments. If you want to see a couple of wins on Ash from the early access playtest I got invited to, I'll leave that video linked down in the description below if you're interested. If you liked any of what you saw in this video, a like would be much appreciated, and if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Shout out to EA for the early access invite, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.